Have you ever built something so perfect it felt like a piece of your soul lived inside it? That's what my house in the woods became for me. My name is Margaret, but everyone just calls me Maggie. For 25 years, I poured every extra dollar, every weekend, every drop of sweat into a little patch of land 30 miles from the nearest town. Pines taller than my dreams, a creek that sang at night. I designed every beam, every window, every stone on the fireplace with my own hands. When the last nail went in, I stood on the porch at sunset and cried. Not because it was fancy, it wasn't. Just a cozy 2-bedroom with a loft and a wraparound deck. But it was mine, paid off, no mortgage, no neighbors for miles, my safe place after a lifetime of noise. I'd raised my daughter, Claire, mostly alone. Her dad left when she was 3. I worked double shifts at the hospital, saved every penny, and promised myself one day I'd have peace. This house was that promise kept. Claire grew up, met Daniel. Sweet talker, dimples, always laughing. He swept her off her feet in college, and 2 years later, they were married in my backyard, before the house was even finished. I walked her down the aisle between stacks of lumber. Everyone laughed. It felt like family. Daniel called me Mom from day one, said I was the mom he never had. I believed him. Why wouldn't I? Fast forward 8 years, Claire and Daniel are living in a cramped apartment in the city. 2 kids now, my grandbabies Lily and Max, adorable, loud, perfect. They visit the Woods house every summer for 2 weeks. We roast marshmallows, catch fireflies, tell ghost stories on the deck. I'd watch Daniel sitting on the railing, staring out at the trees like he was counting them. "This place is magic, Mom," he'd say. I'd smile. Took me a lifetime to build it. He'd nod slow, eyes far away. I didn't know what that look meant. Not yet. Then came the phone call that changed everything. Phone ring echo. Tense strings. It was Claire crying. "Mom, we lost the apartment? Landlord sold the building. We have 30 days. My heart dropped. I pictured my grandbabies on the street. "No, not happening. Pack your bags," I said. "Come to the woods. Stay as long as you need. Silence on the line." Then Daniel's voice in the background. "Tell her, thank you." I smiled through the ache in my chest. Family helps family. That's what I'd always taught Claire. They arrived 3 days later. Van stuffed to the roof, kids bouncing like puppies. Daniel carried boxes like a hero, grinning ear to ear. That first night we sat on the porch, fire crackling, stars so bright they hurt to look at. Daniel raised his beer. To new beginnings, we clinked. I believed him, but something felt off, just a flicker, like a shadow moving behind the trees. I brushed it off. I was tired, overthinking. Little did I know, the betrayal had already begun. And my revenge? It was growing quietly in the woods, just like the trees. The first month was pure joy. Lily and Max ran wild through the trails. Claire helped me plant a vegetable garden out back. Daniel fixed the leaky faucet in the guest bath without me asking. He even built a tree swing for the kids. I'd watch from the kitchen window, coffee in hand, thinking, this is what life's supposed to feel like. But then, the comments started. Small at first, we'd be eating dinner, roast chicken, mashed potatoes, the good stuff, and Daniel would say, "You know, Mom, this house is huge for one person." I'd laugh. "Plenty of room for all of us." He'd nod, smile, but his eyes stayed on the high ceilings. The stone fireplace, the view. One night, after the kids were asleep, Claire pulled me aside. "Dan's parents are struggling," she whispered. "His dad's health is bad. They might lose their place." I frowned. "That's awful. What can we do?" She hesitated. "Dan thinks maybe they could stay here, just temporarily." My stomach tightened. Dan's parents, Ron and Linda. I'd met them twice. At the wedding, at Lily's baptism. They barely spoke to me. Linda kept calling me the mother-in-law, like it was a disease. But family is family. "How long?" I asked. Claire shrugged. "A few months?" I looked out at the dark woods. "My sanctuary, my home," I sighed. "Okay, but just until they're back on their feet." Claire hugged me tight. "You're the best, Mom." 2 weeks later, Ron and Linda arrived. No knock. Just pulled up in a rattling old SUV, honking like they owned the place. Linda stepped out first. Dyed red hair, lipstick too bright. She took one look at the house and gasped. "Well, look at this." Danny wasn't kidding. Ron lumbered behind her, coughing into a handkerchief. He didn't say hello, just nodded and walked inside like he was inspecting property. That night, they took the guest room. The only guest room. Claire and Daniel moved to the loft with the kids. I gave up my office couch. I told myself, it's temporary. But temporary turned into permanent real fast. Clock ticking. Pages flipping. 3 months in, I couldn't sleep. It was 2 a.m. I padded downstairs for water. The house was dark, except for a sliver of light under the office door. Voices, low, urgent. I froze. Daniel's voice. She's got no mortgage, Claire. The land alone is worth $500,000. Claire. Shh. She'll hear you, Daniel. She's asleep. Look, my parents can't afford their meds. This house is sitting here empty half the year anyway. Linda's sharp laugh. Empty? Please. She's hoarding it like a dragon. Ron, we move in permanent. Say it's for the kids. Emotional guilt. Works every time. My blood turned to ice. Daniel again. We get her to sign over the deed. Say it's for estate planning. She trusts me. Then we sell. Split the profit. Mom and Dad get a condo. We get a down payment on something better. Everyone wins. Claire's voice. Small. But it's her life. Daniel. She's 62. Alone. What's she gonna do with all this? We're family. Silence. Then Claire. Okay, but we do it gentle. I backed away. Bare feet silent on the wood. Heart pounding so loud I thought they'd hear it. I slipped outside. Sat on the porch steps. Cold night air burning my lungs. They weren't guests. They were vultures, and I'd invited them in. But here's the thing they didn't know. I'd been alone a long time. I knew how to listen, how to watch, how to plan. The woods had taught me patience, and now? They were about to learn what happens when you betray the wrong woman. I didn't scream. I didn't confront. I smiled. I cooked breakfast. I played grandma, but inside, I was building something. First move. I called my lawyer, Tom, old friend from high school. Told him everything. Get the deed locked down, I said. Trust, ironclad, they get nothing. Tom whistled. You sure? This is family. Family doesn't plot to steal your home at 2 a.m., I said. He laughed. Fair. Give me a week. Second move. I started documenting every snide comment from Linda. Every time Ron accidentally broke something. Every late-night whisper I caught on my phone's voice recorder, hidden in the planter by the office. I labeled the files. Evidence. Third move. The woods. See, my land wasn't just a house. It came with 40 acres. Most of it wild. But 10 years ago I'd had a survey done. Found something interesting. A tiny corner of the property. It butted up against a protected wetland. Developers had been sniffing around for years. Offering big money. I always said no. But now? Now I had a phone call to make. Phone dial tone. Smooth voice on the line. Mr. Hargrove? Maggie Thompson. You still looking to build that eco-retreat? I gathered everyone in the living room. Fire roaring. Hot cocoa all around. I smiled big. I've been thinking. You're all right. This house is too big for one person. Daniel's eyes lit up. Claire looked nervous. I continued. So I'm starting a family trust. Everyone gets a share. But first, we need to make some improvements. For the kids. Linda leaned forward. Improvements? Outdoor kitchen, playground, maybe a guest cabin? Daniel grinned. We can help! I know contractors. Already hired, I said sweetly. Starting Monday. Truck engines. Workers shouting. The crew showed up. Loud, messy, perfect. They tore up the backyard. Put up fencing. Temporarily, I said. Ron complained about the noise. Linda hated the mud. I apologized every day. Brought them lemonade. Meanwhile, Tom filed the trust. I signed, notarized, done. My house. Untouchable. But they didn't know that yet. Mr. Hargrove arrived in a sleek black SUV. Suit, smile, clipboard. Daniel greeted him like a puppy. You the contractor? Hargrove shook his head. Investor. Ms. Thompson invited me. I stepped out, coffee in hand. Right on time. We walked the property line. I pointed to the wetland corner. See that? State protected. But the rest of the land, prime for development. Hargrove nodded. We'd pay top dollar, condos, spa, nature trails. Daniel's mouth hung open. I turned to him. What do you think, son? Should we sell? His eyes darted. Greed on full display. Claire whispered, Mom, are you sure? I smiled. It's a lot of money. Could change all our lives. That night, they huddled in the loft, whispering, planning. I listened from the stairs. Daniel, if she sells, we push for our cut. Say it's only fair. Linda, better, convince her to sign before the sale. Power of attorney. Ron, I'll fake a heart scare. Guilt her into it. Claire, this feels wrong. Daniel, it's business. Babe. They thought they were hunting me. They had no idea the trap was already sprung. It happened at dinner. Ron clutched his chest, gasped, fell out of his chair. Linda screamed. Claire dialed 911. Daniel shouted, Mom, do something. I knelt beside Ron, checked his pulse, steady, eyes flickering. I leaned close, whispered so only he could hear. Nice try. But I was a nurse for 30 years. I know fake when I see it. His eyes snapped open. Panic. I stood. He's fine. Indigestion. Linda shrieked. How dare you? I smiled. Call the ambulance if you want. They'll bill you. Ron sat up, red-faced, muttering. Claire stared at her father-in-law. Then at me. The first crack in their alliance. 2 days later, I called another family meeting. This time, Tom was there, briefcase, suit, no smile. I placed a thick folder in the center of the table. What's this? Daniel asked. The future, I said. Tom opened it. Margaret has established an irrevocable trust. The property cannot be sold, transferred, or inherited outside the terms she's set. Linda snorted. And what terms are those? Tom slid a page across. Upon Margaret's passing, the house and land become a nature sanctuary, run by the state. No residential use, no profit. Silence. Daniel's face went white. You can't. I already did, I said. Claire's eyes filled with tears. Mom, I looked at her, really looked. You knew. She broke, sobbed. I'm so sorry. I didn't want this. Daniel stood. This is theft. We're family. No, I said calmly. Family doesn't steal homes. Phone speaker crackle. Recorded voices play. I pulled out my phone. Hit play. Sign over the deed. Split the profit. Their own words. Crystal clear. Linda lunged for the phone. I pulled back. Sit down, I said. Voice like steel. Ron muttered curses. Daniel stared at the floor. Claire was crying. Mom, please. I turned to her. You have 1 hour. Pack your things. All of you. Daniel laughed bitterly. And go where? Anywhere but here. They left at dawn. Van overloaded. No goodbyes. I stood on the porch and watched the dust settle. The woods were quiet again. Section 10. The sanctuary rises. 6 months later, the sanctuary broke ground. Not condos, not spas. A nature center, trails, classrooms for kids. A memorial garden with a plaque for the wild things and the wild hearts who protect them. Claire came back, alone. She stood at the edge of the new boardwalk, eyes red. I left him, she said. Filed last week. I hugged her. No words needed. The kids ran ahead, chasing butterflies. So here's what I learned. Sitting on my porch at night, stars above, woods whispering, betrayal hurts deepest when it comes from the people you love. But revenge? It doesn't have to be cruel. Sometimes the strongest revenge is building something they can't touch. I didn't destroy them. I protected what was mine, and in doing so, I gave it away, to the earth, to the future, to every kid who'll walk these trails and feel the same peace I did. Daniel and his parents? They're renting a 1-bedroom now, fighting over bills, Claire's healing. The kids call the sanctuary Grandma's magic forest. And me, I sleep better than I ever have. Because the woods kept my secret. And now? They keep my legacy. If you're watching this, ask yourself, what's your sanctuary? And who are you letting inside? Protect it. Because some things are worth more than family. They're worth everything.